Hi, thanks for hanging out. In this video I'm going to show you my 1973 C3 Corvette, tell you the specs, what the plan is, have a walk around and a general look at it, and start it up and listen to that beautiful V8 sound. Let's get after it. So this is a 1973 C3 Corvette. Came out with three engine choices. There was the L48, the L82 and the LS4 454 big block. This is the L82 high compression, high output motor, which is really nice. The block is original to the car, which I'm very happy with. That was one of the requirements I had when purchasing the car. It's had an aftermarket intake manifold and carburetor installed. At some point the alternator looks like it's been replaced as well. Some of the features of the car: it's power steering, it's got power assisted brakes, it's got power windows, it's the leather interior, which is really nice, and it did have air conditioning from the factory, which is going to be one of the things that I'm going to look at whether I replace or not, or install or not down the track. Most of the plumbing and all of the controls are still in the car. It just looks as though they've taken out pretty much just the air compressor itself, so that shouldn't be too hard to fix. The colour is not original. The original colour of the car is metallic orange, and the original interior was dark brown. The original interior was leather, but at some stage in its life it's been changed to this red and a black interior, still leather, which is really nice. It's nice and comfortable. I don't know if the red is original and an original red colour. I don't believe that it is. This has got a very nice orange or gold metallic fleck in the paint, which really makes it pop in the sunlight. It looks really quite nice. The wheels, this car, there were only 4 ever produced that had this wheel from the factory. There were 800 sets of these rims available to purchase at GM dealers aftermarket, so I've got nothing that makes me believe that these are original or factory fitted at least. So they will get polished up, and I've got hubcaps for those as well, which will be really nice to be able to put on at some stage. So overall the car is in really good shape. So there's one small fiberglass repair on the bodywork, otherwise it's all in really good shape. One of the previous owners had spent quite a bit of money getting all of the body mounts redone, a lot of the brake lines redone, fuel lines redone, a lot of hoses redone, a lot of suspension bushings redone, that sort of thing. So they're all fairly new still and don't need a lot of work. What does need a lot of work is a lot of little cosmetic stuff. Needs a good clean. This is pretty much how it presented from when I picked it up. Mechanically there's nothing to get done. The engine runs really well. There are no obvious leaks anywhere in the engine. It does run rich, so I'll need to take it to a tuning place, a carburetor place, to be able to get that looked at, but otherwise mechanically it runs really well. The transmission is original to the car as well. I've checked the numbers on that. There has been a shift kit put in the transmission at some stage, so it shifts really sharply between gears, which is nice. It would be a bit treacherous in the wet, so I need to be careful of that, but I don't plan to be driving it too much in the wet. So the trans does have a small leak between the stub shaft housing at the rear of the trans and the trans body itself, which I need to address in order to be able to get it registered in this state. Interior, it's had an aftermarket radio put in, which I don't think I'll change over to an original radio. I might at some point down the track, but that's certainly not high on the list of priorities. What is, however, is getting all of the gauges working. So the oil pressure gauge doesn't work at the moment, nor does the voltage gauge. so I need to have a look at those. The fuel gauge works fine, the water temperature gauge works fine, and the clock is running, which is unusual but good as well. So the interior just needs a good clean. There'll be bits that I need to replace, like the slider that is on the parking brake there. I need to replace that, and there's a piece missing from under the steering wheel, a little bit of the panel work that needs to be replaced there. So little bits and pieces like that. A lot of the strap on the back of the seat has been broken at some stage, and a lot of the courtesy lights in the back are missing or not working, so I need to address those. So a lot of those things, lots and lots of little small things that need to be done, but all very manageable, nothing major. The only major thing on the car that is not here is the spare wheel carrier and the spare wheel. So that's something that I'll need to think about what I do with. The headlights work fine, so we'll pop those up and have a look at those in a sec. Once the car has built up a bit of vacuum, the lights work really well. And everything else mechanically works really well. Little things like the side mirrors that just need to be tightened up a little bit. Otherwise, a very, very nice car. So as you can see from the smoke, it runs really rich, so I need to get the carby looked at and addressed, get the oil pressure gauge working, the voltage gauge working, and then I'll be much more comfortable driving the car knowing that everything works as it should, and if there was ever a problem I am actually going to be able to see it from within the car itself. So overall it's very good. It ticks all the boxes for what I wanted in terms of the car itself. The L82 high output, high horsepower 350 motor, power steering, power windows, power brakes, leather interior. It's a good colour combination, although it's not original. I personally like those wheels. So the plan for the car for me is not to do a full 100% original restoration, but to get what's there working really, really well, and anything that's original that needs to be fixed or replaced I will, but I'm not going to go find an original manifold and an original carburetor, for example. That's just going to stay as is. If I do happen to come across one, well then that's great, but otherwise it'll stay the way that it is. So very happy overall with the purchase. So the plan for me at the moment is to be able to get everything fixed that I need to in order to be able to get it roadworthy here in this state and registered, and then from there share with you how I go about fixing everything else that I need to, all the little bits and pieces that are on the car that need to be done, and talk about anything that I need to do mechanically in order to be able to get it back running 100%. So this will wrap up this introductory video for the car, a few details about what needs to be fixed and what my plan is. So any questions or comments that you have in between now and the next video, please feel free to leave those below. I hope you enjoyed getting introduced to the new car and look forward to the next episode. Thanks for watching. And remember, life's short, so get after it.